Okay, another edition of our dirty little story about septic. Anyway, so we're back here another day, and we finished our trenches yesterday uh, in the pouring rain. So right now at this time of year, getting 3 days without rain is like a small miracle. But anyway, so we continued and we put down our crushed rock bed with our pipe embedded in the rock, and then on top of that a geotextile. Now this is the point of the geotextile, is you do not want your bed of rock getting contaminated with fines filtering down from above or roots, whatever. Now this is a parking area, so obviously roots should not be a problem. Um, anyways, that is the whole idea, is to keep that bed underneath basically non-contaminated, so that it will continue to filter good for years and years to come. So the geotextile above this is incredibly critical. So, and we knew very well when it started raining that our trenches were all going to start collapsing in, just like they did. You know, it's not deep science. Anyway, so we got a bit of you can see we got a side hill slope here. So as we're getting to the end of the field, of course, our pipe is getting closer and closer to the surface level. So our last one here right now is we're only about a foot below, 30 centimeters below the current surface level. Now, when we have this all cleaned up, it may be somewhat higher than that, but at any rate, our depth is varying. As I said, the pipes have to be level, because the whole idea is that the effluent enters here. Now, the first bit of pipe here coming out of the biodigester right to here, from the that's regular pipe. So from here, the pipe changes to this perforated pipe that we create on site here. So anyways, you can see here we're substantially different, deeper in, because our whole field is sloping, which is, that's not a problem. And obviously if your pipe is level and your above surface isn't, there's going to be differences in the depths of the channels. Duh. Anyways, but the whole point now, I've got a couple of pipe samples here, and you can see where we finished it yesterday. I wasn't going to take a video in the pouring rain. Anyways, this gives you an idea of, not the most, okay, there's, on the left side, the smaller pipe is sanitary grade, and the right side is what we call Schedule 26 here. So you can see that it is pretty much close to double the thickness. So that is a resistant pipe versus this is, sometimes this is used above ground or areas that are less critical. Certainly not under concrete, God forbid, but it's done all the time. Anyways, well, you'll see we drill a hole through the center of the pipe, 5/8 inch hole. So the whole idea is that the hole is big enough that it won't fill up with crap, but it also won't let the rock inside the pipe. Like, that doesn't work. Your rock does not go into the pipe, because obviously we don't want rock in the pipe. So now if you can imagine this is, you might call this a half-ass pipe, in that the bottom part behaves as a pipe, the top half not. So what happens is, as toilets are flushed in the house, that flushes down into the holding tank, raises the level in the holding tank, and that drops down and comes up in the biodigester, and of course forces the level higher in a biodigester, and that water flows out of the biodigester and into the field. So that gradually raises. Now, because these pipes are level, what it's going to do is gradually seep throughout the whole network of pipes and gradually raise the level of the pipe, and then it basically just trickles out of all of these holes. I haven't calculated how many holes there are, but I mean, that's, I mean, we got 7 tubes, so that's 42 lineal meters, and there's basically 10 holes per meter. So, okay, so we have 420 holes here for this effluent to ooze out. Because you can imagine, if we exaggerate, if we slope the pipe, all the water is going to basically rush to the lower end. So this piece of pipe here, this section here is going to get flooded, and everybody up there is going to be starved to death. So you have, you know, a half-assed field. You don't actually, the whole point of a field is equal distribution, so the whole area basically gets the same amount of effluent oozing out of these 420 holes. So again, this is not really deep science, and yet nobody does it. You know, anyways, oh well, and here's another myth. Well, I'll go over and we'll do an example of that. But anyways, so getting down here on our knees, see, we've got, there's, you can see the hole in the side of the pipe there on that side, and we have a sister hole on the other side of the pipe. So I said that all gets covered in, and then on top of that, this is our geotextile, as I said, which is a very important part of the whole system. Is that basically, I'm not going to win any cinematography awards on this, but anyways, that's not what I'm here for. Anyways, now you can see this sits on top, and now this dirt will go on top of this. Now, the deeper trenches yesterday, of course, with pouring rain, is, you know, the trenches started collapsing. Well, not too deep, you know, it's a thing called rain, dirt, gravity. That's the end result. Okay, so myth number 2. Okay, this is not really, and no, we're not punishing Delvin here for being a bad boy, and he did not escape from the chain gang at the jail. I've never had this trouble before, but anyways, this, we simply, we're only 30 miles from a bloody volcano, but I haven't been able to find here any. Normally I have been able to find volcanic rock, crushed rock, that looks like this size of this regular rock. But you know, look at this closely. That is not porous. What you want is something that's porous. Well, not what we want, it's what our little bacteria friends want. They want billions of condominiums. So, you see there? That's full of holes. Condominiums for your bacteria friends. So, I mean, there's literally billions of bacteria will inhabitate this and eat our human waste and send out a rather harmless effluent. Anyways, so we couldn't. Well, I found the rock all right, but I couldn't find anybody that's crushing it. So that's what we're doing here, the old-fashioned way, crushing it up, and then we'll be dumping that in the fafa. Wow, that's what they call it here. So that's an abbreviation of the Spanish terminology, but it's a biodigester is what it is. So that rock's going to go in there and displace this water that's going to send out and do the first flush in those pipes. So yeah, it's a little crazy. Well, I've never had to do this before, but I mean, we can't close this up without having our rocks. Now, the easy way out, it would have been a whole lot easier just to take this crushed rock and dump it in there. But that's not what you want. I mean, yeah, it works sort of half-ass. I mean, it's certainly better than what this all too typical system is, but it's not, knowing very well. And when the truck got here, they told me it was going to be not small. I asked for small pieces, the size of your finger, and this is what I got. Oh, okay. Now, in this drainage field, another simple bit of science. Guys here will get rocks like this and dump it in those trenches. That's goofy shit. Let's take, it's about surface area. The whole question is surface area and filtration. Now, imagine that one rock, what its total surface area is. And if you take the same volume of these rocks, the surface area of all these small pieces is massively higher than one rock. So that's what they do, is they throw rocks in these drainage fields. Dumb, sorry, just plain dumb. That's no other way of describing that. But anyways, that sort of covers off the the two big myths covered in this lesson are drainage fields are level. They are not sloped. Now, the pipe that's going to the house that has, bluntly speaking, turds in it, solids in it, has to slope 2%. In a meter, it has to drop 2 centimeters. That's a law. Not more, not less. Now, I've seen lots of cases here also where the other, that's a third myth. They put in a bigger pipe, a 4-inch pipe, crap pipe, and then they slope it only 1%. Sorry, dumb. Now, when I talked about buying PVC and that PV is sold by the kilogram, well, if you take, I've got a piece of pipe here. Let's just take a look at, here it is. Now, again, okay, this is what they would typically be using for that line coming from the toilets. Again, you see the thickness of the wall. It's all this sanitary grade, pardon the pun, crap pipe. So no, you don't want crap in crap pipe. You want your crap in good pipe. But the surface area, now, of course, a 4-inch pipe has considerably greater diameter than a 3-inch pipe does. But to flush one toilet, you do not need a 4-inch line. That is just goofy shit. A 3-inch line, you can technically, in Canadian standards, you can technically run 12 toilets on a 3-inch line. This is not a big house. We certainly, how could you put 12 toilets in this? So anyways, so I go to a 3-inch line to reduce the amount of PVC used, but good stuff. Again, well, this is the typical. Put these two together. There's your difference. A 3-inch line. No. A flushing toilet, this will, but the difference, this 4-inch line is going to consume, a good 20% more PVC to no value. I mean, what have I been discussing here? Value for the homeowner. Well, putting in 4-inch line is pissing money away and accomplishing nothing other than pissing money away. And on top of it, that 4-inch line, you got this delicate piece of crap pipe that can easily break. Believe me, they easily break. So use a small, more efficient line that will easily handle any normal residential application. Now, when we get to that, we'll discuss more about that line coming into the septic tank, which is a very important part. And regularly I see houses that don't have cleanouts. Now, even as though we keep this, you know, there's a toilet going to be sitting roughly here. No, right about here. So there's a straight run over to the septic. No, well, when it enters the tank, it's going to be a double 45-degree turn, which is another myth that is completely full of crap. Back to the expression. Now, when we go to make turns, this is what we want. And invariably in a layout like this, I have to do some 90-degree, in fact, I've got 4 90-degree turns in this whole system. But I don't use an elbow. You do something like this. You know, in the end, it's the same result. But the point is, it's just like if you're driving down the highway, freeway, how aggravating is it if they put every mile a stop sign? Well, if you put a 90-degree, and in good pipe like this, they are literally 90 degrees. So that fucks up your flow, bluntly speaking. So what we do instead is we put a 45 in, another piece, and then another 45, so either the sewage or the effluent can go softly, make that turn, and not cause. And also, if we put a 90 in, you can't run a snake through it. Impossible. They hit that, square corner and it stops. Because the thing is that there's going to be a toilet here and there will be a clean out here outside the house. There will be another pipe that continues on, and outside the house will be a threaded cap. I'll video it later. Anyway, so that if you ever have a problem or a kid dumps something in a toilet that flushes down and that screws up your system, well, if you don't have clean outs, you've just entered hell. But with a clean out, well, it's not fun, but it's relatively easy. Anybody with a snake can come in here. So you just unthread the cap that's just, slightly above or slightly below surface level. Run a snake through there and it'll go through and it'll make those turns and it will actually enter the septic tank. So another very simple, and yes, 245s cost more than 190. But I said, I'm like a broken record here. But when you do stupid shit, you will, sooner or later, end up paying a price. So let's not do it in the first place. So there, lesson, another 20-minute, almost 20-minute lesson here on do's and don'ts. So there we've covered 3 common, really bad habits that are done, and that is putting the field, sloping the field rather than it being level, filling a field with rocks instead of crushed rock. Well, I guess third could be not using geotextile to make sure that over the years, I started this all with a 50-year life. So 50 years is a lot of time for a lot of stuff to filter down through the field. So anyways, we're starting to take our smaller rocks and dump them in to our biodigester. Anyways, now, pardon with the background noise, folks, but I mean, I try to do real videos, so we're at work, so you're seeing stuff happen as we work, so that, I'm not trying to do Hollywood here. I'm trying to do practical lessons that any homeowner could easily follow or hand to other builders and say, well, here's how I want it done. Anyway, so that's the third thing. That was okay, back to our list. Okay, so I just said miss is not a slope field, crushed rock to make the drainage field, geotextile on top of that to stop fines from filtering it and contaminating that lower area, so that those rocks basically stay relatively pristine. Those fines and little roots and whatnot will really screw up a system. Number 4, never use a 90-degree turn. Never, never, never. So there's 4 lessons from today. Now, time to shut up.